What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Nothing But Skills, and today I'm bringing you guys another Division 2 video. Today's video is going to be breaking down my favorite PvE assault rifle build to use. So if you guys watch my PvP version, you kind of see some resemblance, but there's a lot of things I needed to change to make this work for PvE. And I use this build to farm level 3, level 4, do all of my main missions because it has some type of survivability and it has a lot of damage output. So in this video, I'll break down everything you guys need to know. Don't forget, if you guys find these videos useful, always smash the thumbs up. And if you have any questions after watching this video, use the comment section down below. So let's get into the build. So the first thing you guys are going to notice, I'm running 3 offensive. This should say 8 defensive, but I need to put a mod on the chest, and then 7 skill power. I'm running 247,000 armor. The health will be closer to 40,000, and then skill power is 1461. Now, skill power could be a little bit higher if I get a little bit better rolls, and that will let me use some mods on my chem launcher, and then in return, that's going to give me a bigger heal and sometimes give me some more charges. So let's get into the weapons first, and then we'll break down the gear set. Now, for the weapon, I'm running the custom P416. I think this is probably the best assault rifle in the game at the moment. It has a base damage of 19.3k. The RPM is 825, max size is 40. Now the talent I'm using is Optimus. Weapon damage is increased by 3% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine. This requires 5 or less offensive, that's why I stay at 3. And then I have a leg roll, which I think is the best roll for any assault rifle. If we get into the mods, I'm running the 8% damage to elite hollow sight. I run the light extended 5.56, 10 rounds. Now, if you have the one that gives you plus 20 rounds, negative 10% reload speed, I'll put that. I'm running an angle grip with 10% stability. Now, if you do have the bigger mag size with the reload speed, you could put on an underbarrel that gives you plus 10% reload speed to help you out there. And then I run a muzzle brake with 5% damage to elites. Now, the secondary is the chatterbox. You don't have to have the chatterbox, but this is going to help you with your DPS, right? Because it has the bottom talent, blabbermouth, while holster reloading your weapon within 5 seconds after kill grants 20% rate of fire. And then if you add that onto the rate of fire of the P416, you're hitting pretty quick, right? If you look at this clip right here, I kill this elite enemy, I reload, and look how fast the RPM is compared to when I was shooting before. That's why it's great to have it, because you can increase that DPS. If we get into the sidearm, I only use it for the bottom talent, stop, drop, and roll while equipped. Reloading removes burning, bleed, poison, and status effects can occur once every 60 seconds. Now, if we get into the mask that I'm using, I always like going with the RK mask because it always has a really high damage roll for damage to elites. And then if you can get hard hitting on there, that's an additional 15%. So on this one isn't that high. I have one that's a little bit higher, but I'm saving that one until the new recalibration station comes out. So this gives me 31% damage to elites, plus I have hard hitting, which is giving me additional 15% damage to elites. I have health rolled on here, and then the mask is giving me 10% hazard protection, which is 10% against every status effect. I think I've seen on the attribute rolls for damage to elites almost 41, 42%. I don't know what the cap is, but you can get it pretty high. Now for the chest, I am running the Fenris Group AB chest. This is going to give me 10% assault rifle damage, and I have a really low roll for weapon damage, and I wish I could get a better one, but for now this one is doing, I have 10% bonus armor, which is a good roll, and then I have skill power of 394. Now it does have unstoppable force on here, which I think is great for PvE. Killing an enemy grants 2% weapon damage for every 10,000 max armor. So if we do the numbers on that, that's going to be about 24% extra damage after I get a kill based on the amount of armor I have. Now, if you have more armor, it can be a little bit higher. If you have less armor, it's going to be a little bit less. Now, I have hard hitting on here instead of armor because I want that 15% damage to elites, and that's great for all those name and elite enemies. Now, I didn't have a mod on here, so I'm going to put a health mod on here, and I'm going to put one that gives me armor on kill. So every time I get a kill, I get some armor, gives me some armor regeneration, and then it's also going to give me some health. So we're going to go with this one right here. Now that puts me closer to almost 40,000 health. Now for the holster, I am running an ongoing directive holster. Now the only reason I'm running this is because of it having 4 skill mod slots. There's nothing that I've been able to find that has 4 skill mod slots, and this helps me hit that 7 skill power a lot easier. It has skill power on here, it has cooldown reduction, and then it has 2 utility mod slots. One that's giving me 150 skill power, and then another one giving me 136 skill power. So this is what you kind of want to look for if you're trying to hit those numbers. Sometimes you have to put a piece on that gives you no other benefits, but getting you those numbers. So that was able to knock out 4, and then I only had to get 3 skill power rolled anywhere else on the build. Now if we get into the knee pads, these are the knee pads I recommend getting because Gilligard gives you so many good rolls. This gives me 5% total armor. The attributes, I always like getting bonus armor. I'd rather have armor than health right now. And then hard hitting, of course, because you want that 15% damage to elites. You start stacking that. And then look, it gives me 2 defensive mod slots. Now, one quick tip about defensive mod slots, the ones that let you put armor on there. So if you look at the bottom slot, it says 2,100 bonus armor, but then it also says total armor. If you can get those ones that say total armor, this one gives me 3% total armor. That's going to boost your armor up a lot more than just something that's going to say bonus armor. So if you can get a couple of those on your build, you'll start seeing that 250, 260, 270 armor range. Now for the gloves, I have the Aeraldi gloves. These are giving me 10% accuracy, which I think is great for any build. Now I have 9% assault rifle damage. Now once the update comes out, I should be able to stack a lot higher roll on here, but 9% is still pretty good. And then I have compensated. Weapon damage is increased by 15% when your critical hit chance is below 20%. And it is on this build, but I do have to have 3 offensive or less, and that's why I'm at 3 offensive on this build because of those gloves. So we get into the backpack, which makes this build. I'm running the Murakami backpack, and this is going to give me 8% health, so it does bump up my health a little bit, but it has some really good rolls. I'm running bonus armor, cooldown reduction, skill power. So that's going to let me hit that 7 skill power, but it has what I hit in 7 skill power for right on the ropes. Weapon damage is increased by 25% when all skills are on cooldown. Now this makes a big difference when you're doing PvE or even PvP. Now it has hardened on there. That's going to give me 10% armor, so that gets me closer to that 250 cap. And then look at the mod I have, 3% bonus armor, so that means I'm going to get more armor on this build. So the way on the ropes works is every time you have 1 skill on cooldown, say if you're running a pulse or a disruptor, once you pop that, it's always going to be on cooldown, right? So every time you're dropping your chem launcher, it re-triggers on the ropes, and as long as you keep just dropping your heal, the chem launcher, you're going to consistently have on the ropes active, as you're seeing at the bottom left hand of my screen. So just consistently drop that chem launcher and you'll consistently have on the ropes active. So if we get into the skills are something that you guys should pay attention to, because like I was telling you, using the chem launcher, using something else, but the chem launcher is probably going to be the best bet for you. And if you can get your skill power a little bit higher, you'll be able to unlock some of these that give you a stronger heal, give you more than just 3 shots. You might get 7 shots instead, but right now I don't have the mods for that. But chem launcher is my go-to, and then on my secondary, I like going with either the pulse if I'm gonna run spotter, but the jammer is probably gonna be the best one for you. You just pop it, it instantly goes off and it goes on cooldown, and then every time you use your chem launcher, you'll have on the ropes active. Because remember, we're on the ropes, weapon damage is increased by 25% when all skills are on cooldown. And think about that, that's 25% from on the ropes, and then that's also 24% from unstoppable. So a lot of damage you get stacked up. If we go into the character selection screen, you're going to see that I have 0% crit chance because this build is built off of weapon damage, headshot damage. So my headshot damage is pretty decent at 55%. If you guys are on PC, you might want to stack a little bit more headshot damage if you can consistently land those headshots. Accuracy is 10%, stability is 10%. Now for the all weapon damage, it only shows 2% there, but that does not include compensated. So compensated is going to give me an additional 15% weapon damage. So you add that 15% weapon damage on top of that 2%, and that'll be 17%. So we'll be at 17% all weapon damage. And then we have 34% assault rifle damage. And then if we scroll down to damage to elites, you're going to see that we have 89% damage to elites. That's why this build hits really hard. Because remember, there are 2 stats that I'm running that don't even show up there. On the ropes, when my skills are on cooldown, that's 25% damage. And then unstoppable, with my 247,000 armor, that's an additional 24%. And then I've already told you that compensate doesn't show on there, so that's an additional 15%. And that's why this build does so well, because it has damage to elites, it has a lot of weapon damage, it has a little bit of headshot damage, which you can stack a little bit more if you're on PC and you feel like that's more beneficial to you. But overall, anything you fight will go down once you have on the ropes active. Once you have unstoppable proc, you just start to see the enemies fall in front of you, and before you know it, you're putting up some big numbers. Now for my specialization, let's head over there and let's take a look at it, and I'll show you 2 different specializations you can use with this build. So on PC, you'll see a lot of guys run the sharpshooter. On console, I feel like running the survivalist is a little bit better because you get that additional 15% increased assault rifle damage. Not only that, you get 15% increased protection from elites. So those are the main two that I really like when I'm running the survivalist, for that extra weapon damage and then for that extra protection from elites. Now, if you're on PC, a lot of guys like running sharpshooter because of headshots. And I totally agree with you guys, because getting headshots on PC is really easy, right? You get that 25% headshot damage. You also get 30% increased reload speed, and you get 30% increased weapon stability, reduced recoil. So having that extra headshot damage stacked on your build, and if you stack a little bit more headshot on that build, you're going to hit really hard. And you consistently hit headshots on mouse and keyboard. It's just something that's a lot easier to do than it is on console. That's why be careful, guys, when you guys are listening to builds for PC from guys who only play on PC. They really don't know the understanding of console, and unless they play console 24/7, they'll never really get why we don't stack as much headshot damage, because getting headshots is a little bit more tough. And that's just something you'll see between console content creators and PC content creators. Don't forget, if you guys enjoy this video, always smash the thumbs up. If you have any questions after watching this build, use the comment section down below. I'm always active in my comment section. And then also, if you're new to my channel, first time watching a video, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, so when I release a video, you guys get notified. Because when you guys watch my video, when you guys get notified, that helps me out, and it's free for you guys to do. Just watch the video, enjoy yourself, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Hopefully you guys are subscribed to my channel because you guys enjoy my content. I appreciate all the support, and as always, guys, if you guys don't see me in the dark zone, if you don't see me in conflict, if you don't see me running around farming doing PvE missions, it's only a matter of time. Nothing but skills out.